All right, I'll say, how are you all sitting your time as you create time to exist? Now, we will begin before the idea of sharing, discussion, and conviction, as we have discussed previously of your time, this time of your time, the idea of a new understanding of yourselves as beings that are now willing to put into action all that you have previously imagined, previously thinking that your imagination was not real to you. In this way, as we have been discussing this time of your time, you have created this idea and all the symbology within this idea you call your new year, for the purpose of recognizing that you are a new you, a new personality, a new being, a new consciousness, a new idea of yourself. And within this idea, you can also understand that not only as an individual, but as a society, you are transforming, changing the idea of yourselves, and willing to act upon those ideas, to have conviction, to know that you can express who and what you feel yourselves to be this time of your time. Now, recognize that the more you are willing to allow yourselves this freedom of action, the less you will create for yourselves the opportunities to sit around and complain about the way things are that you do not like. For you will now begin to see the idea of the connection of everything in your society as it relates to you. And as you relate to it, and you will begin to understand that you, each individual within your society, make a difference within that society. Recognize you have chosen your purpose in being in this society at this time upon your planet and your civilization. Recognize that if you were not going to make a difference, you would not be here. Are you all following along? Yes. Each individual will make a difference in this society as a total, as a whole. And in this way, allows the society to recognize within each individual within it the ability of the society to relate to each individual specifically, and the ability of each individual to recognize within him or herself the totality of the society, thus forming the first bridge and link and connection from the individual self, from the personality to the mass consciousness, allowing you to know that every move that you undertake, every move that you support, every move that you create will always, because you are connected to everything else, act as a lever for everything else, subtly shifting ideas in one direction or another. And in this way, you will know that you are connected in various ways through the mental fields that you create upon your planet, through the physiological fields that you create through the manipulation of the energy fields of the planet itself. All the ideas that you call your civilization, both physiologically and mentally and emotionally and consciously and spiritually, all are diversifications out of the same primal homogeneous energy field, the primal consciousness. All are diversifications out of that, and all are, as you have said many times, the idea of the different shells, the different layers, so to speak, as you say, upon your idea, you call the onion upon your planet. Many different layers have been created by you out of the homogeneous oneness of the energy field that is the underlying primal foundation of all creation that you call physical. As you diversify these layers, recognize that because you are creating the diversification, you are still connected to every single layer. You are connected and pass through all layers from without and from within. All layers are within you, and every move that you make within yourself is a move made in the outer physical awareness, because the outer physical reality is only a reflection of every idea that you are exploring within the self. To travel, to move through the physical reality, no matter what motive your force, no matter whether you are walking, whether you are running, whether you are riding in one of your automobiles, or whether you are flying in one of your aeroplanes, whether you are in spacecraft, any idea of motion through space is the idea of movement within, exemplified and reflected back to you as a symbol. Now recognize, therefore, the idea that in this way, you, each and every one of you, have an effect upon the society as a whole with every small, subtle movement that you make. For every movement in this way is not insignificant to any other movement. All movements are equal and go into the totality of the creation of your society as you perceive it. Now that you are beginning to recognize that there is no longer any separation between yourself as an individual and the society, you can begin to recognize that as you move, the society moves as a whole. You are immersed in the same fluid. Every other being, every other individual every other self-created perspective within that fluid will always feel the eddies and the currents as you make your move around in the fluid. They will always be able to sense the directions of your flow, the directions of your movement, the strength that you give, the energy that you impart to the fluid in this way, and all, whether you know it or not consciously, are sensitive to this activity, sensitive to your willingness to be exactly who and what you are, what you chose to be in this life. Are you following along?
Yes.
No. Therefore, this evening of your time, we will discuss later on some ideas specifically relating to suggestions for what may exist within each and every one of you pertaining to your willingness to communicate these ideas that you wish to be, your ability to be willing to act upon these ideas in specific ways. Now recognize two things. One, it will not make any difference to us whether you do so or not. You will be doing this for yourselves, not for us. And in this way, therefore, number two, recognize we are not charging you with a task. Recognize we are simply putting forth suggestions as we have perceived from you that many individuals are willing to do these ideas, but simply are still separating the answer from themselves, creating the question, how do I do this? Therefore, we will offer suggestions. By no means what we say will be definitive and will be the only way. No. Each and every one of you with your own imagination may alter what we suggest, and in this way you know that the way your imagination chooses to alter what anyone suggests represents the vibration and the methodology and the means that is pertinent and, quote-unquote, true for you. You all follow along.
Yes.
We will discuss these ideas after your break. We will also be a little bit at that time, before we get into that idea, discussing some of what many of you have asked many times about how we perceive you in this way. And in this way, at the beginning of what you call the second portion of this evening's discussion, there will also be the creation that was instituted by Erika and the physical channel, which will be of some assistance in exemplifying to you some of how we perceive your society from time to time, and why many times you will find that we can with you co-create the idea of difficulty in communication with our relative terms as we understand existence, and your relative terms as you have chosen to create your understanding of existence. Therefore, within this entire idea, we will now begin the idea of sharing in this way, recognizing that whether or not you choose to ask a question or make a statement of yourself, all will be considered equal sharing, and all will be an unconditionally loving gift, so that every being that hears every other being have the willingness to have the conviction to share vocally with every other being that you have attracted to you this night of your time and with us. You will then learn that everything that is said, everything that you can hear, everything that you attract yourself to hear has something to do with a part of you. Otherwise, you would not be involved in the interaction that you are perceiving. Remember that everything you perceive, you only perceive because you contain it. That which you do not contain, the idea of which you are not, you do not encounter. Do you follow me?
Yes.
Sharing! Yes?
I've been encountering an image twice on my trip. The first time I did a tape called Time Traveler, where the hypnotist takes you back to certain places on the earth. And while I was under, he asked us to go to Atlantis. And I found myself hovering over the island of Bimini, which I've been years ago,
Right.
personally. And I was very confused. And
Why?
well, I didn't expect to see Bimini. I mean, it was like, wow, it's Bimini. I was there for
But recognize that that was one of what you call, in this way, the westernmost portions of the island chain that you recognize as Atlantis.
Yeah, it was very exciting, because then I realized that I had actually been back over Atlantis when I was in Bimini.
Yes.
It was very exciting. Anyway, he said to hover over Atlantis, and then the image changed, and I saw this, I call it a crystal temple.
Yes.
It was very, very tall and narrow. I believe it was three-sided
Yes.
pyramid,
Yes.
which is symbolic for me, obviously.
Yes.
Um,
Also to us.
oh, okay.
Understand the triad, we have discussed with you many times.
Yes. And I'm looking at my notes here.
Oh, right if you wish.
Okay. Okay, I also talked to someone, and I observed the propulsion system they use for certain transport vehicles.
Right.
Now, after this, the hypnotist suggested that we hover over Atlantis and watch its destruction. And I found myself hovering over this crystal temple, and I saw a blinding white light, and I felt in my vibration a hum that was uncomfortable.
Yes.
Actually, I didn't really feel it. I remembered it.
Yes.
And I didn't stick around to see the final outcome.
Very, very deep throbbing.
Yes, it was disturbing.
Yes. It did much disturbance.
Yeah.
Yes. It set up the sympathetic vibrations in the crystal plate that caused the gas chambers, subterranean gas chambers, to collapse, which caused the inundation of those island masses.
Then a week or so later, a friend of ours was a hypnotist, and he decided to do a little exploration, and he took us under, and then he had us walking through a forest, and then he said, "I'd like you to come upon a temple in the forest." And as soon as he said that, I saw the same crystal temple. And lately, the subject of Atlantis has been coming into my awareness, and I realized I had probably lived there because...
All of you have.
Yeah.
Many times.
But basically, I wanted to ask you what the symbology or the temple for me, was it a lifetime?
Now understand that those structures existed throughout many lifetimes of many individuals in that area. Recognize also that the energy is something that is not uncommon in many other societies and different civilizations on and off your planet. Also recognize you're making an association with the idea of the type of energy utilized by the League. You follow me?
Yeah. I just find it amusing because it seems everything I bring up has to do with the League.
Not everything. But recognize that you have chosen the idea to form attractions to yourself of other pieces of yourself at this time to serve the purpose that you set up with them.
Was I around at the destruction?
No.
Hmm.
You choose to have your black light in that era before that time.
Before its destruction, can you tell me a little bit about the cervical performance? Was I working with...
You have done many different ideas. You also recognize, and the idea of the destruction coming up was used by you to begin to form your connection to the League. You follow me?
Yeah.
Knowing that there would be a repetition of the cycle, as you are now witnessing the repetition upon your planet. As I have said many times, what you call your culture, the United States of America, will be a representative of the idea of the replay historically of Atlantis. For you possess much of the same idea of technology, the same position in relation to your politics around the world, and contain many of the same individuals who have restructured themselves to the point of deciding whether or not they will destroy the world again or not.
Yeah. Did I work with hypnosis?
In a sense. Recognize that what you call now hypnosis was something that was, as you say, stock in trade of many of the idea of educational systems utilized in Atlantis. There was an identification, I'll say, of a beat that was created so that the bodily rhythm would fall into synchronous harmony with that idea, and while in that state, be open to absorbing all and any information that the individual wished to learn. This was performed by what you call the priest philosophers, you follow me,
yes.
Of which you were one.
Well, that's interesting because the second time I encountered the temple, I was told I could go inside, and I went inside, and the hypnotist said, "I'd like you to wait there for a symbol." And I waited, and when it seemed like nothing was going to happen, I turned around to start to leave, and at that moment, a golden chalice appeared on the altar, on the table. and it had beautiful crystals and water inside of it that I drank. And I put the chalice down, and then I appeared a loaf of bread, which it didn't disturb me, but I was thinking of my Catholic upbringing. It didn't make me feel too good. But,
all right, but recognize that you are only making the association in the present life with some of the rituals that you partook of in that life. Now recognize you are giving all these ideas to yourself symbolically through this idea, this identification in your hypnotic state, that you were making the association that some of the things you had allowed yourself to pick up on in this life will still be of service to you in an archetypical sense through allowing you to pull forth from these past lives all of the symbols that you need to integrate in this life to make an association that is comfortable for you so that you can allow yourself to be the transformational being that will be of service as you chose to be in this life. You are simply relating to symbols that are identical in this way and serve similar purposes, though they do not carry the, so to speak, weight that you will find you first were taught that they had in the present life, as you will have created your interaction with them to carry an association with the past life and not with the present. You follow me?
Yes, I do. So after I took a bite of the bread, and then when I went to reach for them again, it was like a hologram. My hands got rid of them again.
Very good.
I think that I really want to find out more about that temple, but thank you for sharing.
You always will be able to by simply exploring the dimension of your imagination. Understand again that it will always give you what is valid for you to explore and will always lead you to the idea that you are always exploring only your own truth, which is all that you can ever explore. Your own truth. You follow me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bashar?
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. One of them is, what difference does it make to you in your perception when you open your channel's eyes? Will it make a difference in terms of your
This
perception?
will depend upon several ideas. There will be some slight differentiation in perception, but recognize that there will mostly be a willingness at that time for us to initiate, as you would say, all right, we will be colloquial, kick-starting, if you wish, in your language, the idea of the channel's own willingness to allow his own higher consciousness to fully be present in this way. It will be more the idea that we will then be supporting the totality of the physical channel rather than actually coming through stronger ourselves.
Oh, I see. The other question, I have another question. The other question, I wasn't here at Christmas Eve, but I was listening to the tape of it.
One moment.
Uh-huh.
This is not always the case. It is different for every individual and for the reasons for which the channeling has been agreed to be accomplished. Continue.
Yes, okay. And on that tape, Steve was relating a dream in which that he had asked for, and apparently about Essassani, either meeting you or some other Essassani people.
Yes.
And he said everything was green.
Yes.
And you confirmed the fact that, I guess, Essassani is green.
Understand that what we were confirming with the idea that while it is, like yours, more or less a green planet, we also have, unlike you, a green star.
Uh-huh.
And the reflected light, many times, will give a pale green cast to the landscape.
Well, I was really surprised because I've done several processes in the past few years. On several occasions, I went to a place that I called the green place or the green planet in my own mind. One in particular, I was living there with a friend. I had arrived and everything, there was a huge green expanse and just beautiful vegetation. And
All right. Thank you. Recognize that primarily what you are identifying with is some precognition of the idea of identifying with our energy, but mostly what you are identifying with was the fourth density state of your own planet, as you will recognize that the crystalline form we have described that defines that idea will be emerald, and will reflect the idea of the vibration that your planet is becoming. And to you, in symbolic sense in this way, will seem to be the idea of the exemplification of a green planet. You follow me?
yes, but I did feel that it was a different planet and it wasn't Earth.
It is a different planet. Your fourth density
Oh,
planet,
okay.
Earth, will not be the planet you are living on now, in a very real sense.
Okay.
But understand, as I have said, you are also co-connecting to some degree, some precognition of your interaction with us, making the connection between your civilization and our civilization, as we have already told you, that your civilization and ours and the one around Sirius are three parts of the same consciousness. Thus, you will always, when examining the idea of any transformation of the energy vibration of your world, connect into the totality of all the others as well that have to do with this particular exemplification and expression of consciousness. You follow me?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
No, thank you. All right, you. Then you.
Can you tell me about yourself? It's my first time. Yes.
What do you wish to know?
I have not understood who you are.
All right.
What you are.
Thank you. Recognize in this way that we will consider ourselves on a level that you would be able to perceive us physically to be beings similar to your own species, though different. We will be average, what you say, 5 feet of your height in your counting. Approximately, in this way, coloration, whitish-grey, skin tone. We will, in this way, in the features that you understand upon your planet, be defined more closely to the idea you call Mongolian, though different. In this way, you will, I will say, notice that we will have, in your terms, very large, upturned eyes. We will have a simplification of our features. We will, in this way, be relatively slender in your terms. Now, in other senses, we are connected to the consciousness of your world. We are our own civilization, but we are connected. We are a part of the same overall consciousness that forms your world, our world, and a civilization round about the star you know as Sirius. In this way, we are, by being allowed by you to assist the transformation as it is taking place upon your world, we are in very many ways the idea of your future selves, while we are at the same time our own civilization. We are being allowed to be of assistance to you by blending, by reflecting to you the idea of the blending of all the levels of your consciousness, by the blending of polarity within you, positive, negative, male, female, within each and every individual upon your planet. We, in this way, are being allowed by you to be of assistance in the understanding of certain aspects of all the blending of consciousness as you make the transformation from third to fourth density reality. That is simply the idea that you are becoming more aware of more of yourself. We are reflections for you in this way, while we are our own society. We are parallel to yours. We are not better than you. We are not more than you. We are simply different than you, expressing ourselves as we see fit to express the idea of our facet of all that is that we recognize ourselves to be. You are expressing yourself in your own way, and in this way now, as you enlarge your idea of yourself, you now begin to include the idea that there can be other civilizations, and in this way we are allowed to communicate with you in the manner we are communicating at this time. Recognize that what you call face-to-face encounter will be something that will take place within what you call your near future, but as of now it will be relatively restricted because not everyone in your society wishes this idea. For to wish this idea is to wish the idea of coming into action with the totality of your consciousness and all portions of your personality, both positive and negative, and allowing yourself to equalize this idea. And for many individuals upon your planet, this is something you are not yet comfortable with. Therefore, when your society allows itself to be equal to every other idea and equal to our civilization and any possible civilization they could encounter, we will be able to meet with you on equal terms, but not until you are equal. We do not want in this way to be feared. We do not want in this way to be deified. We want to be with you sharing in equality. And in this way we perceive that as we perceive your energy at this time of the entire society, we will. But this is up to you. It is your choice. We are not interfered in this way. And it is up to you to allow yourself to choose the reality wherein it contains the idea of interacting with other civilizations or not. It is up to you. We will abide by whatever you choose. Now, will this have answered your question, or do you wish more specifics? All right, very good. To be confused is to unlock yourself from one idea of reality, disorient yourself, and reorient yourself to another idea of yourself. Confusion, co-fusion, fusion with the idea of more of yourself. So if what I say confuses you, in a sense, you are allowing yourself to grasp it on other levels as well as just
You're physiological. You're beginning to blend your communication with different levels of your consciousness. Now, the idea of your confusion can be positively used by you. Allow yourself to simply clarify within yourself what it is you wish to identify within yourself with regard to the symbol we reflect to you. What is it you specifically wish to know?
I'm just trying to understand.
There is no trying necessary. You understand what you need to understand.
Okay, I understand why people can understand what you're saying and believe in it.
Understand in this way, it is not a matter that they believe what I am saying. It is that they believe what they are saying to themselves, and I am only reflecting what they already know. Do you follow me?
No.
All right. You know what you know, yes?
Right.
Understand in this way, what the service is that we are providing is to reflect to you that you already know everything you need to know. You do not need us. I will be doing a perfect job when you do not need me. When you understand that we are here to assist you be equal to everything that there is in creation. In this way, you can choose what you wish to believe. You always do. You do not have to believe me. It does not matter to us what you believe. Only that you know in this way that whatever it is you choose to believe, you understand that that is what is responsible for the creation of whatever physical reality you experience. You are creating your reality. Do you follow that idea?
Yes, and I guess that brought something to my mind.
All right.
Specifically. Now you talk about dimensions.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Can mean many things. First of all, it is one way, a vernacular, a label, to say that there is a separation of vibrational resonance. In such a way you can make an analogy with what you call your visible light. You have visible light and you have light that you cannot see. You follow me?
Right.
You may therefore understand that the reason you can see some light and cannot see other light is because of the rate of their vibration. You follow me? All reality that you call physical is of this nature. It all vibrates at different rates. Some of it you will perceive and some of it you will not. Usually, those that are called, those realities you do not physically perceive as this one, are ascribed to what you call other realities or other dimensions of all that is, or within all that is. Will that have clarified the idea to some degree?
Yes, and so if, I guess when you're saying what I think is a reality,
what you believe,
what I need to know,
what you believe.
what I believe. The idea of dimensions,
Yes?
wouldn't I need to know about those?
That is up to you. Do you feel you need to? Now understand this. Many individuals create their lives and go about their business being perfectly happy and do not know one shred of what you call metaphysics and do not care to. But they are functioning within themselves and acting accordingly to the idea they chose to be anyway. You do not have to know these things to be able to live. It is up to you what you wish to know about who and what you are. Therefore, it is not a matter of needing to know anything. You will know what you need to know for whatever it is you are choosing to do. And you will find that you are an automatic creator. As you create your reality, you will automatically attract to yourself those things which you do feel you require. Therefore, for example, the idea that we are discussing this right now is an indication to you that you do wish to know something about it, or you would not be here. For I would not have attracted someone who had not created in themselves an idea that they wish to know this and share it with me. And you would not have attracted to you someone who would be willing to discuss it with you if you did not wish to co-create that reality with me. Therefore, let your physical reality be an obvious reflection of what it is you believe your reality should be. Now, at any moment you can change your mind. You can say, all right, well, I understand enough about dimensions, no need for any more of that. Or you can say, well, this interests me. I think I will research some more of this idea by talking to different individuals, by reading your books, by watching your films, doing whatever it is you feel is your creative way to allow yourself to know whatever it is you think you need to know.
Okay, this is kind of different, but what I do believe is in Jesus Christ.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yes. When you say you believe in Jesus Christ, what does that mean?
That means that I believe in a God who created the universe.
Yes.
Including all of us.
Yes.
And that because we are sinners, Jesus...
One moment. All right. You believe you are a sinner.
Yes.
What is a sinner? Will you define this for me, since it is outside the concept of my society?
Have you never heard of sin before?
We understand your concept. In this way, we have not heard the concept from you, however, and you are a unique facet of all that is, expressing it in your own way. Therefore, if you would, define for me your concept of the idea you call sinner as it relates to how you see yourself.
And sin for me is anything that I would do,
Yes.
think, that goes against something God would want.
What does God want?
God wants, I guess very simply, or to answer it within the time limit. God wants me to show unconditional love
All right.
in all situations. And anytime I
One moment. Did you say unconditional love?
Exactly.
Unconditional. Do you understand what that means?
I understand it to mean that as far as people, and feeling unconditional love, for example, the people in here, no matter who they are or what they've done,
Yes.
as far as I'm concerned, I love them because God loves them.
All right.
I have no right to overrule. I mean, God loves everybody in here. I have no right to overrule that.
All right. Now, you know that you can create the reality of overruling it, but we understand what you mean when you say you have no right. You do have a right because you can do it. But that does not mean that it's something you want to do. You follow me? Anything you can do, you have a right to do, in the sense that you can do it because you are also the creator. Now, again, we are not suggesting this is what you want to do, nor we are suggesting that this is something which would create harmony upon your world. No. But in this way, simply take yourself literally. It is not a matter of whether you not have the right to do it. You can do it because you know people have done it. People have very blatantly judged other people. Is this not so? All right. Now, because they can do it, it is not a matter of whether or not they have the right to do it.
Is it wrong?
There is no right and wrong. It is a matter of whether you choose to create a positively manifesting reality or a negatively manifesting reality.
Which would you suggest?
I would suggest the positive one. Because in this way, choosing the positively manifesting reality will be integrating yourself with all that is, and therefore knowing yourself as the creator and allowing the creator to know you in that way. Whereas a negatively manifesting reality is to separate the idea of yourself from all that is, to isolate, to create an idea of isolation that does not allow you to feel your connection to all that is. And in this way, leads to what you call the need to dominate. For that will be, when you separate yourself from all that is, the only way that you will feel you can collect what you see around you to you, to dominate and control it. Thus, in this way, you create many ideas out of separation and negative manifestation that are, in your terms, unpleasant, dis-ease, and many other ideas that you say you do not like. This is why we would suggest positive manifestation. However, recognize that we perceive the idea in and of itself that you call judgment to be of the negative manifestation. Thus, we do not say anything is right or wrong, because that to us is to judge all that is. You follow me? To us, even the idea of judgment is the choosing of the negative. Now, you can know what you prefer. To know what you prefer does not mean that you have to judge or invalidate anyone else in terms of the way they chose to explore their own godhood, to relate to themselves as their portion of all that is. Now, if they have chosen separation, negative reality, limitation, judgment, then it will be less likely that they will perceive their connection to all that is. In this way, however, one who is integrated has chosen the idea of unconditional love will recognize that there is no need to judge those who have not chosen unconditional love. For unconditional love is the granting of validity to everything within creation for its own sake. Because that portion of creation has seen fit to learn about itself in the way it has chosen, then you, in choosing unconditional love, then generate the faith and the trust to know that in an ultimate sense, they are always going to be all right. Because ultimately, every idea is still contained within the overall idea of all that is, and cannot become lost. There is nowhere to lose anything to, until you create that type of separation. There is nowhere to lose anything to until you, in choosing negativity and limitation and separation from yourself as all that is, choose to create a dimension in which you can remove yourself from the rest of everything. You follow me? Yes, you do. Any idea that you call a lost soul is a contradiction in terms. A soul always knows where it is. The idea we are ascribing to many individuals who are expressing simply that specific ritualized expressions through which they channel the idea of their love, many times even though they express it to be unconditional, still comes with conditions. Now, we are not saying this is your case. We are simply saying that we are relating to the terminology that you are using by being so specific about what you have described to be the way you believe and what you have called the idea of being a sinner, which by your ultimate definition means someone who is outside, has placed themselves outside their recognition of themselves as God. Yes, of course. Now, understand this is what we are talking about. Many of what you call upon your planet your beliefs or your religions, so to speak of the idea of God, or what we call all that is, as being omnipotent, everywhere, omniscient, all-knowing, all-seeing, everything, everywhere. Now, if God, by your definition, is everything, how can you be outside of it? You must also be God. God must also be you. Now, God knows that you are God. Why do you not know that you are God?
So say I make a model. I create a model.
Of what?
Of an airplane.
All right.
Okay?
Yes.
I created that.
Yes.
I put it together.
Yes.
but it's not me.
Yes, it is. Understand that what you experience as your physical reality is all a symbol. If you wish to use the term illusion, all right, that may clarify it for you.
Well, doesn't that illusion or symbol means a representation, does it not?
It is a representation of an idea.
If you had the idea of making a flame, then you are the flame too.
Yes.
And then the idea you are that idea.
You understand that everything in your universe is a matter physically of vibration. You cannot perceive anything that you are not. The vibration that you are makes what you perceive the physical reality to be. Thus, if you have created this idea of a model airplane in front of you, you are extending a portion of the idea of yourself and reflecting it back to yourself as the ability to do that outside yourself, seemingly. But everything that you perceive, every individual in the room, is your creation. You have to create your version of them in order to perceive them. You follow me? All right.
I guess if I am dedicating my life to following Jesus Christ,
why would you want to do that? He did not want you to do that.
He did not want me to do that.
No. He does not want you to follow him. He wants you to be like him.
Well, that's kind of what I mean.
Well, say what you mean. Understand that your terminology is what we were discussing. That upon your planet, many times the terminology that you choose does reflect how you go about relating to the ideas you think you believe in. And in this case, you are saying that by following someone, you are separating yourself and making yourself less than, rather than being equal to, which is what he wanted you to know. That all of you are Christ consciousness, like he is. And in this way, the idea of what you have referred to in your society of second coming is not the coming of an individual. It is the recognition within each individual upon your planet of the Christ that you are and living like it. That is your second coming.
So when Jesus said, I don't know if he said it, you might know. You might not.
Proceed.
But he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. What did he mean by that?
The idea is this. He was saying, to paraphrase, in your terminology as you understand your language now, what you perceive in me is the vibration of integration wherein I know myself to be on the same level, equal to God, all that is. The only way that you will know yourself to be that idea is to be like me, be of the equal vibration of recognizing yourself as all that is. That is why he said, I am the way. He did not mean, I know the only thing that will get you there. He simply meant that you, in allowing yourself to know that everything you do is valid in the overall sense, are granting support and service and validity to the ultimate idea of the creation itself, and recognizing your own equality to Godhood. That is being the way.
You said something and people kind of laughed when you go, he didn't say, I know the only way, but he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me.
Understand this as well. What you are calling your biblical literature contains less than 10% of what that individual ever said in his life. And what was even written down is very much misinterpreted according to the understanding of when it was written. Recognize that what you call your Bible was not written to record history. It was written to convert. Do you follow me? It is in this way true for those individuals that wrote it in the way they understood it. But recognize that there is still much misinterpretation of what was actually said.
How do you know that?
In this way, we are sensing into the mass consciousness your higher levels of consciousness. We cannot expect you to take us at our word. It is up to you to believe what you want, as we have said. But we will discuss with you what we perceive to exist within your own higher consciousness, which knows itself to be equal to the idea of the Christ consciousness. We can talk to it, and so can you. We are simply here to let you know that you can talk to your own higher consciousness, and once you allow yourself to do so, you will find that it will tell you exactly what I am telling you now.
I guess what I'm asking, well, that's what I believe.
All right?
Okay?
It gets you where... A moment. It makes you everything. Understand this. It is not the idea of what you are perceiving to be a removal of validity. To us, big deal does not mean the removal of validity. It means the equalizing of everything as equally valid.
The granting of every path to be valid, no matter what you
In other words, no one thing, no one belief is any more of a big deal than any other belief. They are all equal.
All ideas are valid, including the idea that no other idea is valid.
Very good.
You have validity for the person who created it.
Yes, because that person would not have created it for themselves if they did not need to look at that idea.
Was Jesus Christ the only Son of God?
You are all children of God. Now recognize that the idea, as it was translated into your language, is usually interpreted this way. The idea of what you call Jesus Christ referring to himself was as the Son of Man.
He called himself what?
The Son of Man.
He didn't call himself the Son of God?
Look in your own Bible. He calls himself the Son of Man.
You sure?
Yes.
2,000 years ago, the word God, I don't believe was written in the Bible at all.
read the Bible.
Understand, first of all, that in this way, as you say, the writings of what was verbalized were not even begun to be committed to paper until approximately 57 years after the death of the physical Jesus.
Well, you talked about the Bible being misinterpreted through the years.
Every single written idea contains some misinterpretation where it regards the idea of placing ritual around the idea of what happened.
You know, God couldn't have watched over it
Why should he?
because it was His word. He wanted
No. Understand, it was a reflection, an offering, a gift. Unconditional, remember that term? Unconditional love. God is unconditional love and will not force you to interpret something in any way, shape, or form. It is up to you. That is why you are here.
So, the Word of God, the Bible, not according to you, is not the Word of God.
Yes, all of it is.
The person who wrote it, or the people who wrote it, were God.
Simply understand this. It is all relative. The Word of God is all relative. to itself. God contains every paradox, every paradigm, every dichotomy, every blending. God is all that is. There is nothing outside. You are all that is. Your space in which you live, your time which you spend much of wondering who and what you are, all of those things are creations from your idea of who you think you are. You are one idea of God. Every being in creation are all the different ways God has of looking at itself. That is what it means to be all that is. Every dimension, every being, everything, every thought, it is all God. And many of those things come into creation simply because, for no other reason than they can. Understand this. Many times when you ascribe more importance to this passage or this literature than some other passage or literature, seeking for some ultimate idea of truth, you are, in that way, at that moment, diversifying, focusing, and fixating a portion of all that is and not looking at the whole, which always sees itself as whole. The idea of knowing yourself to be God is simply allowing yourself the broadest possible definition of that concept. And knowing that for God, that is real. God knows itself to be its own being, but also knows itself to be the compilation of every being within it. And knows every being within it to contain the totality of the whole. For in that way, as you say, nothing is impossible to all that is. And if you can conceive of it, it is real to all that is. And on some level, some dimension, some aspect of consciousness, it exists. If you can conceive of it, it exists. And it is a reality within all that is. Now, when you do this separating out and searching through and analyzing all of the different passages in literature many times, you go doing this because you are looking for this ultimate purpose. Recognize this. Existence is. All that is, always was, is now, always will be. Existence does not have its existence within time. Time exists within all that is. Therefore, it is eternal. One moment. Recognize, therefore, that the concept, and any concept that is created within all that is in a sense subordinate to it. Therefore, ultimate truth as a concept, purpose as a concept, are things that exist within existence, and existence existed before there was the concept of purpose. And that which exists before the concept of purpose does not need a purpose to keep on existing. Thus, all that is will be. All that is, in all the ways it can be, simply for no other reason, no other purpose, other than it can. Because it is the Creator, and the Creator creates, simply because it can. Now, your symbols are valid for you. You have changed your mind before, and you will change your mind again about what symbols are relevant in the understanding of who and what you are. And it does not matter in the overall sense what you choose to believe. If you know that you are believing what you are believing out of unconditional love for all that is, and also, equally important, unconditional love for yourself, then there is no need to worry about what you believe. There is no need to worry about what anyone believes. Because you know that whatever you believe is going to create the type of reality that you will experience. And experience that you will.
The only thing I'd like to diagnose other people have something to say about, and it's that if that's what you believe, what you're missing is the relationship with the God who made you.
Why? Understand again. You are missing yourself the idea that I perceive both ideas. I contain the totality of the dichotomy, of the polarity, of the seeming opposites. I know myself to be all that is, and I also know all that is relates to me as a higher consciousness. I can create the idea of knowing I have a relationship with all that is. At the same time, I can also see myself as the one creating that relationship and therefore being all that is. To me, this is not something which is mutually exclusive. I can create whatever sense of relationship I wish. And I know that whatever sense of relationship I create is still going to be as real as any other sense of relationship that I choose to create. And for me, all of it is valid, and all of it is being created out of joy and ecstasy and unconditional love, and the expression of the same unconditional love that the Creator created us to be. That is how I perceive the relationship. I am always in the relationship with all that is within joy, love, and ecstasy. For us and our civilization, the feeling of this ecstasy is the expression and the experience of what you are defining as the sense of that relationship.
Why is that not happening here?
Because for the past 25,000 years approximately of your time, you have chosen as a group consciousness to explore the idea of separating yourself from your memory of being all that is. And now you are turning over a new idea. You are through with the separation, and that is why you're creating this idea you call a new age of understanding, a new age of awareness in light and love. You all are. The entire planet, or you would not be on it, because that is the idea of this planet that you are on. To create the transformation, to begin to recognize yourselves as all that is, and create. Because now you know you are the creator. Peace, harmony, light, and love. Understand. You do not get peace by hating war. You get peace by loving peace. Now you are through simply with the tool of separation. And within the next span, as you count time, of approximately 30 to 50 of your years, all of your civilization will also recognize this. For when you create separation, you create the experience of more time. And thus that is why the experience of experiencing all the limitation and separation has taken 25,000 years. When you now choose to create the idea of integration, of knowing yourself to be all that is, then this experience can be played out upon your planet in a mere 2,000 to 3,000 years. And after that point, you will not need to reincarnate upon this planet again, for it will have served its purpose for you. You will move on to something else.
Back to when you were talking about when I said big deal,
Yes.
and everybody kind of, I guess, agrees with that.
They simply recognized that you were quoting something we had said many times.
Okay. Now, this is my first time.
Yes.
And from what you're saying, I could leave here knowing that whatever I chose to do would be all right.
Precisely.
And now what I want to know, why would anybody want to come back if that's what they know?
Maybe simply because they enjoy the situation. Recognize they do not have to come back, and many do not.
Why do you come back?
Why did I come back?
No, I'm talking to the people.
Because it's fun.
Because when you ask certain questions, and bring this question to me, like I have a very specific question I want to ask you, because of what you talked about.
But
Now, a
you
lot of
should-
times I come here, I don't think about specific questions, but when I'm around this group of people, it brings stuff out in me that I want to ask them.
But what you already know is simply what you choose to do It's okay. So why do you need a question answer?
It is not so much that they need question answer, there can also be the equality of sharing. When you know what you know, you can share because you have created yourselves to be a physical planet, and you have created the idea that you are separate beings, and you have created the idea that you can communicate different ideas. That might seem like fun, because you may not have considered it from the specific point of view that someone else has considered it from, so this is an opportunity for sharing, for blending, for appreciating all the different ways that all that is has of expressing itself through all the different people that you are. Each and every one of you is a different path, is a different way. If there was only one way to do something, there would only be one person. Therefore, many individuals are simply taking advantage of the richness of the experience of all that is expressing itself through all the different beings that you are, and they enjoy the sharing in that way. It shows and reflects to each individual different portions of themselves they may not have been willing to consider in exactly that way, and for them it is a joyful experience of integration. That is why they choose to come back. But understand, it is not the original person who comes back. Every being that comes back again and again and again is a new complete being, a new complete idea of themselves, him or her, and a new complete universe. It is not the same person. No one comes back. Everyone here is new, even if they have been here 4,000 times.
What happens when you die?
Many different things. You will, first of all, obviously, no longer consider yourself to be physical as you now understand physicality.
When you physically die.
Many different things.
We come back here.
You can. You do not have to. There can be, in that state of being, when you remove yourself from the idea of the physical reality as you have created to be a limiting one, when you remove yourself from that physical state of limitation, then you will know that you chose everything that you experienced in that life, and that you can create any other type of reality on this planet or any other planet, or not reincarnate at all. You can choose to know in that level and see very obviously that you are, in fact, the Creator.
So then I would no longer be reincarnated?
You do not have to be. It is always a choice. Now, since you are here, I will assume that you chose to reincarnate at least one more time.
Why do you do that?
Since you are here, this time, not one more time after this time. Since you are here, I will assume you chose to reincarnate. This time.
Into this lifetime
Yes,
right now?
yes.
Well, it's not my first one?
No. There is, upon the average, as you say, 2,000 to 3,000 lives for every individual in the room with regard to the particular Earth cycle you are now involved in during the last 50,000 of your years or so.
Why?
Why not? Because you chose to. Because you chose to explore the idea of limitation as it is being expressed on this planet, and to do so, you chose to manifest yourself in many different lives to explore all the different ideas that you can explore in being in this society. You have been everything there is to be in this society one time or another, sometimes more than one time. Everything. Because this is now the transformational life. And this life can be the last physical life you may choose in this cycle, since the cycle is now over and turning into another cycle.
Bashar?
Yes!
I've been reading a lot on the lost years of Jesus, and I want to know the period in time when the Bible, that information that was erased from it, where he went. Did he go to India and study yoga? That's why he came back and came.
There was the idea of travel to the area you call India.
What age?
Now, we perceive that there was connection at what you call age 17, also what you call age 30, approximately. Also the area you call Egypt. also the idea of many, what you call out-of-body experiences, to travel many different places other than that. Recognize simply that what that being was allowing himself to recognize was his own Godhood, his own Christ consciousness. And in this way was simply reflecting to you.
That we can do it too?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Just when you repeat exactly what he said, that reveals the whole thing. I am the way, the truth, and the life. If you repeat that, that's everything.
Very good. Yes, if you repeat it and mean it for yourself, yes.
That's it. There's no debate there.
No big mystery.
Yeah, it's self-evident.
Yes. You see, that is why we are saying, do what he did, not follow. For if you follow, then you wind up saying, he said this, he said that, rather than simply repeating what he said and feeling the vibration within yourself for what it gives you.
We are the way, the truth, and the life.
Yes. Briefly.
Okay. So far, everything you've been saying is, I've never been to one of these sessions before, but so far everything you've been saying is perfectly understandable to me. I understand exactly what you're talking about.
All right.
Does that mean that I've spent more lifetimes working on these answers? Is that why it's clear to me and maybe unclear to other people?
Can be, does not have to be. Understand simply that whatever purpose you created this life to be will delegate what type of understanding you have about anything in it. Does not have to be connected to the idea you call past life, because you are creating your past and your future from the present, since the present is always the only time in which you exist.
All times are existing at one time?
Yes, it is all simultaneous, and any idea you call past and future life all exist right now.
Okay, this is one of the things. Recently I've had a feeling that there have been visitors from the outside, maybe from where you're from, field 4 or 5 of them, and under hypnosis and reversing, and I haven't been able to get through to these. The other night I did reversing, and I have a lot of blockage, a lot of resistance to this, but I had these light forces visit me. They were different colors, blue and purple and what have you, but they were trying to give me some sort of message, and no matter how hard I concentrated on the message, I could not figure out what it was.
Just because you were concentrating.
I think so. How do I get this message?
First of all, simply assume that you have it on whatever level you need to have it. Then relax. Go about your business. Live your life. Understand that you chose to experience a certain number of ideas in this physical life, and you will experience every single one of them. You will not miss any of them.
It's just a matter of time.
You make your own timing. You make your own idea of destiny. Dates with destiny are always on time.
There is no need for anxiousness.
Understand that anxiousness is the negative view of the same energy that causes excitement. Be excited. Know that you are opening up to the ideas that you are creating in your reality, and simply follow your joy, follow your excitement, do whatever excites you, because what excites you represents the vibration that reflects the path you chose to be. That is what excitement is for. No, thank you. All right, the two, and then we will take your break.
Why did we choose to not know why we came into this lifetime and what we chose before we came here? If we also have memory of our childhood, why did we stop?
All right, now again, recognize that what you are still doing is what we call a habitual ritual out of all the lives and times that you have separated yourself from knowing who and what you are. You are now learning to reintegrate this idea, and you will find that you are creating the type of society that will allow the children that are being born into it now to remember. Yes. Now, do not be surprised, therefore, if these children tell you what's going on. They will remind you of the agreements you have made with them to be here now.
Is it true that we choose a role that carries us through the many lifetimes?
There are overall themes, if you wish, But again, you have been everything there is to be, even within any particular overall theme you may choose to create. But that is also a choice. And you have many parallel existences and alternate dimensions of reality in which you have different themes. You follow me?
Mm-hmm. What I'm referring to is an entity from messages from Michael Berger, 7 different roles that you enter through each lifetime.
In a sense, but do not forget, again, that what is being described are the themes that are congruent with this particular reality. You have alternate dimensional portions of yourself that are experiencing different themes, as well as the ones that you are now referring to. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, does it answer your question? Thank you. Yes?
Bashar, do the densities go on ad infinitum forever, or is it just this civilization and other civilizations such as yours that is on fixed? I mean, people who have computers going in and forth. Do the densities just go on forever?
Yes.
Yeah.
And no. There is one whole everything. And within one unbroken, homogeneous all that is, there is no need for the idea of diversifying into different separate density levels. Yes, because it can, within all that is created an infinite number of densities, simply because you can imagine it.
So this basically, bottom line, is an exercise in science.
Thank you. It is creation. It is creation.
Thank you, Bashar.
So, you may all take a short break. Right now, as we continue, we will diverge for a moment of your time to co-create an idea which we know you will enjoy. Erica, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, now, before we begin, allow me to tell you, this is not being done so that you may have more opportunities to judge yourself. You already have enough of those. Recognize that this is simply being offered to you as a co-creation so that you can see how very creative you are, even when you choose to limit yourselves. Even when you choose to feel that you do not deserve to know that you are happy. That you do not feel you deserve to have whatever you wish without struggle, without strife. This for you also may serve to give you some idea. And again, we are not meaning to judge you, nor to, as you say, call you down. But simply recognize it may give you some sense of how, many times, when we communicate with you, you sound to us. For we see you as a total conglomerate of all that you are. And we understand that you are, at any given moment of time, as you create those moments to exist, different ideas of yourself. You become different ideas from moment to moment to moment to moment. Many times you exemplify this in your speech, and what to you sounds like a coherent statement, to us sounds like 3 different people talking about 3 different ways of life. You think, well, what about so and this relating to such and that, and then again, how about this? And you think it all is one idea when it is actually 3 or more. And with every time you state those different ideas, you become a different person. The person that only relates to the idea and exemplifies the idea you are stating at the moment. And when you put the but and or whatever in between those statements and create for yourself a polarity, a contradiction, a dichotomy, then you become a different person that is now unto yourself saying a specific idea. Recognize that when you are the person that creates the question and then become the person that knows you have the answer, you may create what you have judged upon your society up to this point to be a negative habit. You call it absent-mindedness. But recognize that that is why you usually ascribe, because in your knowingness, you know that the idea behind absent-mindedness, more often than not, is something that puts you in touch with who you are, the center of yourself, where you know the answers are, and that is why you usually ascribe the term absent-mindedness to someone you think is smart. You follow me? Recognize that you say absent-minded professor. Geniuses are absent-minded. They tend to lose track in what you term to be the practical ideas of day-to-day living. But this is only because they begin to listen to themselves. Now understand, you would act the same way, and it is not necessarily a negative way to act. If you went from a person who separates the answer from yourself and formed the question to a person who listened to the answer or discovered that you had the answer, it could go something like this. Well, Bashar, what about so-and-so and such and such? Now, recognize, as we have said, that as you speak something, you are on the level of that idea, or you could not conceive of it. Therefore, when you say something, when you imagine something, if you all of a sudden in mid-sentence recognize that you became, that if you let yourself recognize that you became what you are conceiving, then you would just be so. And it would be, well, Bashar, what about such and... I see. What? Did you have a question? What? Were you talking to me? No, I did not have a question. I know my answer. Well, somebody asked a question. Well, yes, but that must have been the me I was before. Now I allowed myself to become the me that has the answer, and I, the me that I am now, never asked a question, because the me I am now does not need to ask a question to separate the answer from myself. Therefore, I forgot what I was saying, because I am now another me that does not contain that idea. You follow me? Now, however, we will generate for your enjoyment I'll say, condensation, in a way, of many times, and again, not to judge you, how you sound to my civilization. In all the ways that you have created to hold yourself back from being willing to be who and what you are. Take it away.
All right. I'm trying. I hope, I wish, I can't, I don't know how, I don't understand, I want to achieve, I want to become, I'm lost. It got away from me. Easier said than done. It's difficult, it's hard, it's hopeless. I don't deserve it. Make it happen. I'm working on it. That's in the future. It's a goal. I'm pursuing an idea. I'll get around to it. It's beyond me. It's beyond me. It's above me. It's beyond me. It's out of my reach. It's out of my grasp. Hang in there. Have patience. Things take time. Be persistent. Work hard. Earn a living. I expect to, I guess. I suppose. Maybe. Perhaps. Possibly. We'll see. I can't see how. I can't imagine. I can't cope. I'm afraid. I'm going to get hurt. I'm going to fall flat on my face. I'll be ruined. But, however, look before you leap. Have a plan. Think about what you're doing. Analyze the situation. I can't help it. It's a habit. It's not my problem. It is a problem. Why? How? It's always been this way. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm set in my ways. You're a dreamer. It isn't real. It's not valid. It's stupid. It's silly. It's ridiculous. It'll never get you anywhere. It won't work. It won't succeed. You failed. You made a mistake. You're being naive. You're inadequate. Who do you think you are? You think you know it all. You're not an expert. You're wasting your time. You're fooling yourself. You're being taken for a ride. Stop pulling the wool over your eyes. Wake up and smell the coffee. Prove it. Face reality. You don't know what you're talking about. Grow up. You've got your head in the clouds. Stop acting like a child. You're nuts. You're a loony. You're insane. Give it up. You're acting like a fool. I'm helpless. I'm powerless. It's out of my hands. What can I do? What difference does it make? You can't change things overnight. You can't fight City Hall. I can't handle it. It's too much for me. I'm in waves from my head. I've bitten off more than I can chew. I don't have time. I'm too busy. I'm pushing myself. I'm holding myself back. The rug was pulled out from underneath me. I'm out of control. I don't want to get involved. Leave me out of it. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You made your bed, now sleep in it. Leave well enough alone. Don't make waves. Don't stir up trouble. Don't ask. You're gullible. You'll fall into a trap. Nobody's perfect. It can't be done. Don't expect miracles. Be practical. That's not normal. What's your problem? Give me a break. It's driving me crazy. It's making me uptight. It's a tense situation. Hammer the idea home. Follow in their footsteps. Disaster, catastrophe, accident, task. I've got a long way to go. It's a long journey. What if? Evil, no good, bad, rotten, wicked, spiteful, vengeful, hateful, determined, stubborn, judgment, good for nothing, out of place, awkward, embarrassment, secret, hidden, out of sight, out of mind. We'll never know. I haven't the faintest idea. God only knows. I'm only human. That's the way it is. You can't have everything you want. Be happy with what you have. Don't upset the apple cart. Don't rock the boat. I'll settle for that. Mind your P's and Q's. Don't be selfish. I know what's best for you. It's too much trouble. Don't bother. I'm beef. I'm sorry, misery loves company. You don't know your ass from a hole in the ground. You should, you better, you have to. This is killing me. Walk before you run. I don't have a leg to stand on. Kind of, sort of, almost, and who cares?
Now, do you understand?
Yeah.
That many times in the course of a communication and a conversation, to us, what you think is one statement many times sounds like a series of those. When you think you are being positive, you are finding any excuse not to be. You even think that the idea in and of itself of thinking positive is not something that is practical in the overall sense. Well, yes, I'll feel better. Well, so what? What will thinking positively get me? Now, in this way, when we speak of the idea of conviction, when we say that your words are vibrations and vibrations are ideas and ideas are your reality, well, is it any wonder? The reality that you create for yourself, you always create the symbols that go with it to reflect that idea, and all of these ideas that were just read to you are a product of the habitual ritual that you have created of separation. Now, recognizing and giving yourselves the opportunity to make all of that equal to everything that you possibly could experience, you now know that this was not read to you so that you will have to be careful about what you say. No. You do not have to step on your words. You do not have to control your language. Oh, well, if I say this, well, he's going to jump down my throat. I have already jumped down enough throats. Recognize in this way, it is simply an opportunity for us to assist in reflecting to you another viewpoint of yourselves that you may previously not have considered to be one that carried so much weight as you have given it. Now, in this way, therefore, recognize that you can, if you choose, to simply lighten up on yourselves. And by lightening up on yourselves, you will find yourselves to be enlightened. That is all it takes. It is all very simple. You and creation, though ultimately, infinitely diversified, is completely simple. The idea is simple. And you can create anything out of it, and that is why you can create anything out of it, because the basic idea of existence is so simple. If it were in of itself a complex thing, then you would find yourselves rigidly structured and not able to create infinitely diverse situations. But because creation is in and of itself, simplicity itself, totally homogeneous, one thing, then out of the oneness can come anything. Anything you wish. You have but to see, to know, to believe, to feel, to think yourself into that idea. To know you are any idea that you have. You are any idea that you have. And then there will be no separation between you and the idea. There will not even be the concept of between. You follow me? No! We thank you for your willingness to enjoy yourselves. We will take sharing for a time and then discuss some of the suggestions we spoke of earlier. Sharing.
Yeah.
You, then you.
Last week we had an opportunity to talk, and I had asked you about an affinity, an attraction to communicate with Colonel Gaddafi.
Yes.
I would like to know, is there a past life connection with him?
This, in our perception and in your terminology, is somewhat, as you say, bifurcated. In other words, not directly, but there was an involvement with the energy of that being, though at that time you found it, in your terms, prudent to not physically interact, though you were aware of each other, in the sense of your influence in what you call world affairs even then. And in this way, you interacted by being of the same nature, by being involved in the same types of activity, but you were not directly involved. Now, you can give yourself the opportunity to bring this idea full circle and recognize the polarity that has been created again, and this time the willingness to act from the point of view of knowing that all polarity is contained on one whole unbroken idea within the self, then you can know that you can attract and create and co-create with other individuals that type of interaction to be of service in this way, to allow there to be an equalizing of the energies and a soothing of the separation that is being created by that individual upon your planet for himself.
Wonderful. That answers a lot of questions for me. That answers why I am so attracted to the energy, although his daily functioning in this physical form is totally 180 degrees from where my beliefs are.
Yes.
Yet there is a very clear understanding and a very clear need to communicate with him the idea of the image of peace in Christ consciousness.
All right. And once again, recognize it is through unconditional love.
Absolutely.
Without the expectation that he need listen to you.
Absolutely.
Then you will be speaking the clearest.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Given all we've been talking about, I have some questions about how we manifest physical energy in our body and the concept of pain.
All right.
Specifically in my body, I've had history of stomach problems, ulcers, and I hadn't had a diagnosis over many times. It's been chronic, recurring thing over a period of time. And I've looked at it from not separating my body from my mind, and I'm creating a physical symptom.
What does it do for you?
Having an ulcer?
Yes. What does it cause you to look at?
Causing me to look at physical pain.
As a result of. Now understand, while you are, quote unquote, pondering that idea, that all dis-ease and all pain results from separation, the idea of loss of something, limitation of the idea of yourself as being connected to your own godhood. All pain is created out of separation from yourself as all that is. Now, can you allow the idea of the pain to serve that purpose for you? Do you think there may be some other specific things that the pain allows you to look at that you may not be considering if you did not create that for yourself?
Well, I'm very aware when I have pain of separation in the sense that I feel like there's a block my blocking the energy.
Why do you feel you are blocking energy? What is the idea to block energy? What does that mean to you? Does it mean that you are not willing to accept and allow a portion of your personality to be valid?
Yes.
What portion?
Well, when I have the pain, I feel like if I was to breathe through it or let go or something that may be done.
All right. Let us, in this way, I'll say, not chiding you, but simply speaking for myself, let us cut the metaphysical jargon. What is it about yourself you cannot stomach? What is it about your reality you cannot stomach? What is it about life you cannot stomach? What upsets you?
I guess bottom line is that feeling of separation.
Why do you imagine that you create a feeling of separation? What do you feel separated from?
Well, I see my non-letting go.
But what does all this mean? What is it you think that you should be doing that you are not, or that you are doing that you think you should not be doing? Speak physically about your life. What are you doing in your life? And is what you are doing in your life representative of who you know yourself to be?
Definitely not as much as I would envision.
Then understand that as you create the vision, so-called vision, of yourself being this complete individual, you understand that that vision is of an individual that does not contain an ulcer yet, then why not simply be that individual now, rather than assume that you have to try to achieve to become that individual in the future?
Well, I do find that into my ulcer.
Then simply ask yourself, if you know that you are a complete individual, then if there is a reason for a complete individual to have an ulcer, then talk to yourself. Ask yourself what the reason is. But not from the idea that you are not a complete individual with a problem. You are a complete individual with a particular type of symbol, a particular type of experience that is telling you something. What is it telling you that you are not listening to? Go within. Speak to your body consciousness. Listen to your body consciousness. If you are a complete person with the idea of an ulcer, because there is no such thing as being a less complete portion of something else. Every idea is in and of itself perfect for what it is. Therefore, you are a perfectly complete person with a perfect manifestation of an ulcer. Why have you created yourself to be a complete idea that contains the notion of an ulcer? Speak to yourself. What do you get? What image, what feeling, no matter how silly, do not judge it, do not think about it. What do you get? What is the first impression? All right, very good. Very good. Now, what in your life, as you go through life, as you examine the idea of your interaction with life, what becomes naughty for you? What is it that you think needs to be unraveled, untied? What secrets do you believe are hidden from you?
Well, I guess the feeling I have is I get glimpses of something that I don't maintain.
Glimpses of what? And what is there possibly that you could get glimpses of that you need to feel you should maintain? As I said, what secrets do you think are being kept? And why do you feel that anything can be kept from you? Why do you feel you need to try so hard to hold on to something when its natural inclination is to come and go? And in coming and going, serve the purpose you chose to create that event for in that way. Why do you think you are being stymied? Why do you think there are things that are hidden from you? Do you not understand that everything that you need to know is obvious in your life? If you will but treat your reality as valid and everything in it, then you will always see how everything that concerns you in the moment is right there for you to look at. And anything that comes and goes does so because the coming and the going serves the purpose of the moment. There is nothing you have to sink your hooks into and hold on to, or it will get away from you. Nothing gets away from you. You are creating it all. It is all within you. Do you think you might be able to relax into the idea that your life is not being interrupted? That you can never be off your path because a path is not something you are on. A path is what you are, and you cannot be off of yourself. Do you think that you would enjoy the idea of relaxing into life? Of knowing that you deserve the ease of creation? Of knowing that you did not have to do anything to deserve to exist? And therefore anything within existence You do not have to need to do anything to prove that you deserve anything within existence. All you need do is act upon the knowingness of the self that you already are. And all that means is acting upon the opportunities you give to yourself, you create for yourself in your reality exactly in the way you create them, and not hoping, expecting, wishing them to be something else. For it is only in allowing the way you create it to be all right that it gets you to something else. You follow me? Now, take your hands and open them wide, all your fingers splayed out in front of you like this, all right? Now, can you feel the idea that you can embrace the love of creation in your arms? Can you feel this idea, this warmth, this unconditional love that is always for you, present from all that is? Can you imagine this idea? Then, if you will do me a favor, take that love and hold it within yourself, and embrace yourself, and love yourself, and treat yourself with the same deservability and the same respect that all that is has for you. Because all that is thinks you deserve it, so why don't you? Love yourself, hold yourself, cuddle yourself, cherish and nurture yourself. And in this cherishing and in this nurturing, it is not a weakness, it is a strength. For you are then pulling yourself into the center of your being, which is exactly where you know that you are all that is, and everything you create is a tool to show yourself another idea of all that you can be. And that you can transform your tools from negative into positive manifestation once you allow the tool you create in the manner you have created it to serve the purpose and not reject it. For it always comes to you in the manner which you chose to have it come to show you what you chose to look at. When you accept what you create the first time, it does not ever have to come back in the same way. Let it do its job by not being something that you cannot imagine has anything to do with your life. And the instant that you allow yourself to recognize that everything that occurs to you happens because of you, and that it has everything to do with your life, exactly as you have conceived of yourself, then any reason for pain will vanish. You will accept the idea of the message being sent, not create separation from the path that you are, and not need to experience that loss or separation of yourself in terms of dis-ease or pain that come to you in symbolic ways to shake you up and remind you what you are doing. You follow me? Just relax. I do. Yes!
On the subject of pain, when your energy enters down, like in the second half, I experienced an excruciating pain in my third eye, which is almost starting to diminish now, and it was really so painful I thought I was going to lose the room.
All right, once again, we have discussed this idea. Simply recognize you are still creating. The idea is, no big deal, that you are still comparing where you think you are now to where you think you are going to be. And when you receive or create for yourself these surges of knowingness, and you are filtering them through those comparisons, well, then the idea of the slower vibration of where you are now and the supposed faster vibration of where you think you are going rub up against each other and cause friction, which causes pain. It will dissipate as you acclimate and shift and merge and blend and become one vibration with that idea by allowing yourself to know you are becoming the future self in the present. In a sense, yes, of course. It is all the same idea. Why separate it out? You know what total idea you are. So why say, well, does it have to do with that? Does it have to do with this? Does it have to do with what I ate for breakfast this morning? It is all, everything in your reality is a symbol of the total idea that you are being. Thus, you have simply to look at what you know you are being, and every symbol that relates to it that you are creating will make sense.
Under the hypnosis, the hypnotist took us into a cottage where we examined some doors, which is the same symbology I used when I used to ask people. But one of the doors I approached was a black door with no handle, and I knew I wasn't supposed to go in it. So I stood there in front of it. It was a wooden door painted black. I put my hand on the door, and I got a splinter, and I put my hand on the door. And I understand what that's representing to me.
Do you?
Well, I assumed it to mean that it was something in the past or life.
Nope.
No.
It was an exemplification of the idea of what you do to yourself to splinter, to fractionate yourself when you come up with this idea that there is something you are not supposed to do. Therefore, you get what you put out. I am not supposed to go through that door. Ouch! I showed me. That is what I mean.
Yes, I didn't mean I wasn't supposed to go through. I could have gone through if I wanted to, but...
Then why didn't you?
I felt like it wasn't necessarily something I needed to see. And when I told the hypnotist that there was a splinter on my finger, he suggested, and I didn't even realize I could do it, that you take the splinter out. So I reached over and I pulled the splinter out, and there was this huge, long, black splinter. It was really pointed, and I dissolved it with white light, and I put blue light around my finger.
Very good. But understand simply again, that was learning the idea after the fact. You do not have to get the splinter in the first place if you recognize that there is not anything you are not supposed to do.
So it wasn't related to anything specific in the past.
It is all related.
Yes,
it is all related. Why create more separation? Why need to turn your microscope and put labels on a specific idea that you can then take your responsibility and put over there? Well, this happened because of this over here. Not because of me now, because of this over here. You follow me? That is the idea of why you reminded yourself to come back to the now with the splinter. And sometimes you will find that this is why you think you need to create the idea of pain. It is a very focusing concept. And let me tell you, when you are in pain, you are nowhere else but here.
There was this tunnel of pain and my third eye was closed.
All right, then make the association between what we are saying. It is all symbolic of the idea. It is the separation, the drifting off into the netherlands of your past and future lives, and then not watching what you are doing in the present that causes you to get the pain that snaps you back right where you know you want to be.
I think that I
You
know.
understand.
Yeah,
and then when you understand, then you say, all right, thank you, Splinter. I know what purpose you served. I am now here and in the present. Thank you and goodbye.
There's one of the doors.
This is very creative on your part.
I thought so.
Oh, I think so too.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
There's one of the door I came to, which was really, really beautiful. It was a crystal door. It looked like a block of ice. And there was no way, physically, there was no knob or anything, but I I just stood back and I put white light around it and it vanished and I walked through.
Very good.
And my first impression was the Pleiades because it was very green and there was lots of crystal sparkles and the vibration was very, very high and I felt like I shouldn't go into the spa.
Another should.
I know.
Darn.
You know, you're reflecting something to me that I haven't noticed about this whole experience.
Oh, yes? What is that? Do tell.
Well, the should, because the other door I went through was a golden door, and I know I visited my higher self, and I asked if I could keep the door open, and I heard no. And now I'm thinking I shouldn't keep the door open. I shouldn't.
Why not get experimental and see what happens if you do?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Anyway, the vision of this, I just want to make sure I ask you about it, but that is
Make sure.
Did
you write that one down?
I'm usually more aware of my grammar. It's just when I have a headache, the words reverberate in my head.
Then why not listen to them in there and go into your meditation and center yourself and get your answers there rather than creating an echo out here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy yourself.
I will. Huh? I will. I promise.
You what? You what?
I will.
You what?
I promise.
You what?
I will.
Are you here and now?
Yes.
What is your present tense?
I am.
Thank you. I will. Someday.
I am.
Thank you. Yes?
I was married to Bruce Chapman, and he died, and I wanted to know why he died.
Why?
Well,
Because he was through with his life.
Well, what then was my purpose with this life? I guess I just don't understand.
Well, what did you share with each other? What have you learned? And what are you still learning? Any relationship, once created, always goes on. You are not through with the relationship, for you are still creating your idea of that being. And that being is still reflecting to you ideas that you are now putting into your life and allowing yourself to assimilate, so the relationship goes on. So what? It is not physical. It is still a relationship. Now, what are you learning about this idea? And what service has he provided for you by your co-creation of him leaving physical reality before you have? What is it you are benefiting from by staying in physical reality while he goes and does something else?
Well, I know the answer.
Well, thank you. Do you wish to share it?
Yes. What I'm learning basically is a lot about myself, and
Very good.
just really expanding in myself. So I
Very
understood,
good.
But I thought maybe there was something more.
Oh, something more important than knowing all of yourself. Oh, what could that be?
Can I ask one more question?
Of course.
You pointed out that there are various dimensions. Do you know where he is?
All we can say is that he is not physically reincarnated. Now, a portion of his consciousness is going to be, in a sense, with you for a while. Recognize that sometimes individuals choose to be perfectly, I'll say, pragmatic about your terminology, to become non-physical so that they can act in the function of spirit guides for those that are still physical.
Yeah, I feel him around me a lot of the time, and he died 12 years ago, but I can still, I really can focus in on him being around me.
Then understand simply, it is an opportunity for you to continue whatever aspects of the relationship can be continued outside of physicality. And for you to look at yourself and use that as a loving gift, as a reflection. Honor his gift by loving yourself enough to live it. Thank you. I have done it. Oh, thank you. Yes.
I took myself to Hawaii
All right. Did you have a good time? Are you still having a good time?
Still having a
Boy, you really sound excited.
Well, I am excited. I was just kind of very close to talking about being anxious again, because the name is kind of being kind of.
Yeah,
It was a very spiritual experience and very centering and open myself and got very much in touch with loving myself, which I know
Thank you.
Idea for me to experience.
Oh, thank you.
Because I tend to judge myself very much.
All right.
I
Anytime you choose to love yourself, I will choose to take that as a gift. Thank you. That goes for all of you. Continue.
I had a very strong connection and pull towards the planet Sirius, and I was very mesmerized by it, and it was a very spiritual connection. I felt I didn't really understand it. Last Monday when I was coming over to see the family, again I felt that I was really wrong, and I just wondered if there was any connection.
Of course, because you are creating the connection, or you would not perceive it.
Okay, I know there's a connection, and I wondered if you could tell me more.
Maybe. I will say this. You are allowing yourself to connect to that energy, though it is not something that you associate with directly in terms of the idea of origin. You are allowing yourself to connect to that energy because you believe that the way in which you wish to be of assistance to your society in this transformational life will best be served by connecting into that energy, by utilizing what it is offering you, and also because you have so many other acquaintances that are in this way connected directly to that energy. So you are surrounding yourself and acting in this way as an earth server and forming an association with the energy that you perceive to be, in your terminology, the one that you can, I'll say, identify with the most in terms of what you want to do. Do you follow me?
Yes, I do. I don't even feel I need to know specifics of that.
Thank you. All right, now understand also that as you simply continue with your life, if any specifics are necessary, they will be there automatically. And all you need to do to find them is keep on moving. All right. Transformation and change. Transformation and change. Transformation and change. Life, life, life. Oh, thank you.
About not being judgmental.
All right.
But as far as I'm concerned, judging is used. I've been using judging in order to, because I did not know how else to be a responsible human being.
Now, understand that there is a difference between judging and preferring. Preference is not an invalidation. It is simply knowing what vibrates more harmoniously with what it is you want to do. This does not mean that you invalidate everything else. It simply means you choose what reflects more accurately the ideas you want to reflect. You can prefer something without judging everything else. You follow me?
I follow you, but I think I express myself incorrectly because you don't understand what I'm talking about is, simply put, I have to take care of several other people in my life. I support 3-4 other people.
So?
The weight of the responsibility is present with me very often.
Why do you create it to be a weight? Why is it not a joy? You have co-created the situation with them. Why are you not enjoying sharing with them? Why do you feel them to be a burden?
I can't enjoy it at all times. It would be
Why not?
I don't know.
All right. Got to start. Would you like to?
I would love to.
Then go ahead.
Thank you.
It is as simple as that. When you say, well, I would love to, in that moment, you are capable of doing so. Because you recognize the vibration that it takes to do so. And then in the very next second you say, but. Which separates you from where you were a moment ago when you said, why not?
I doubt sometimes my ability to take care of it.
All right, very good. You are judging yourself.
Right.
Now, let me ask you this. If you do not choose to believe that you know what you are doing, do you think that they might have known what they were doing when they chose to be with you?
I think they do.
Well then, why doubt yourself? Obviously they think they're with the perfect person or they wouldn't be with you. So why doubt that you have the ability to interact with them in whatever way you both agreed or all agree to? You don't have to try. Simply by being who and what you are, you fulfill your part of the bargain. And if you have any doubts, then that, at the time you create them, is also part of the bargain and allows them to see reflected in you, back to them, some of the ideas they also chose to explore and understand about the reality into which they were born. Then, in allowing everything in the relationship to serve the purpose of the relationship and not feel that somehow you are of disservice to the agreement that you made, you will allow yourself to automatically see how everything is of service, and then you will take the weight off yourself. You will not push yourself. You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to try to be who you are. It is the simplest thing in creation. It is all you actually can be. You are never not who you are, no matter what you are doing. Therefore, recognize simply that you knew what you were doing when you chose to form this relationship. They all knew what they were doing when they chose to form the relationship, and together you all know what you are doing. When you begin to take that for granted, you can enjoy the relationship for what it is and not what you think it should be. And then when you stop judging the relationship, it will become what you want it to be. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is that simple unless you choose to look at it as otherwise. That is up to you. But anything you do will still be part and parcel of the overall ideas that you chose to examine by creating that relationship, and they know it too. Otherwise, you would not be together. These things are simply not accidental. Follow me.
I am.
Thank you!
Thank you.
Yes?
Okay. The triad of the association.
Yes?
I assume there are other associations of other planets and other
Yes?
in the universe.
Yes?
Are they all triad or
No.
other entacles? Are they all?
They are whatever their idea of symbology makes fit.
And once they are totally blended, like our triad is totally blended, do they then combine with others?
Yes?
Once the planets that are existing in force density, I assume once you're in force density, there's no more war, disease, and all that, no matter where you are.
No, thank you.
I mean, not just on this society, but on other planets too.
There is, to some degree, still the ability in force density, or at least in what I will call the very beginnings of it, to still create some idea of that separation. But beyond that, no.
Okay. Now, are there planets that are in third density, whose technology has advanced to the extent that they actually have space travel where they can go beyond, light years?
Yes.
And are there planets that actually conquer other planets?
In a sense. Recognize again that though it may symbolically seem like planets are being conquered, no one can be conquered if they do not vibrate to the idea that they can be. And thus you will find that the so-called best safeguard to that idea is to simply know that you are not of that vibration, of that idea, and they, not being of the same reality, will never find you. If they come to what represents your planet to them, it will not be inhabited to them.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm just asking to see, how much of science fiction stories that we read, a lot of it seems very plausible.
In a sense, but you are making many metaphors which you are taking literally, and it is not the case. You are using that as a symbol to allow yourself to know that what is offered to you as the idea of their negativity, you can simply accept as that, as an offering of a gift, of a way of life. And you can say, well, no thanks. You can offer them back the idea of your positivity. You will not exist in the same vibration if they do not accept.
Well, I'm not afraid for myself. I'm just curious in general.
All right, but again, understand there is no such thing as idle curiosity. And what you are examining has purpose within you, or you would not even have considered the idea.
Yes, I understand. Although I don't know what the purpose is. Can you tell me?
It is only your willingness to reflect at this time the idea so that it could be realized in the totality of the group as it exists.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Now! Very briefly.
Can you explain a little bit the advantages of aligning the energies in the body in the morning by either doing sit-ups or arching and humping the back, by standing on your hands and knees?
Now, you can create, again, like anything, any kind of a tool, any kind of a ritual, if it has validity for you, it will do for you whatever your imagination tells you it is doing. For you are creating that idea to do so. Now, in a mass conscious sense, because many of you are connected in that way, you can say what you are doing is forming an idea of the alignment of all your chakra points so that the idea of that overall energy in your spine can go through all the branches of your body and filter out into your auric field, so that you, in the breathing pattern, are harmonizing and synchronizing yourself with what you perceive to be the foundation vibration of all that is. You follow me? Now, recognize that many of you have discussed with us the idea of the interaction of your society with our society physically, and the interactions that have taken place with other societies, are taking place now, and can take place physically upon your planet. And in this way, we have discussed many times the idea that you know that your governments and your media in many areas are very well aware of our existence, but because you have created your governments to take responsibility of your lives for you, then you have said, yes, we want to be kept in the dark. Therefore, it is now your opportunity, not your order, only a suggestion, that you can begin in your imagination to create conversations, which you may memorize, you may write them down, you may take them however you wish, and you may go to the people in your media. Now recognize there are many sightings of spacecraft from many different civilizations all the time on your planet. And they are aware of a large majority of these sightings. They choose not to print them. In this way, they are told not to print them. In this way, since you know that these things are ongoing, without force, without condemning, without accusing, but only from unconditional love and a willingness to understand and share and co-create, and let them know that you support them and that they would be appreciated on your level by supporting you in that way. That you can go to your media and you can ask them the reasons for why they have chosen to suppress the information. Involve them in conversation of a loving nature, letting them know that the more of you that already know, the less reason for them to not print what they know will be something you want to read, which is, after all, why they are in that business. Therefore, you understand the idea of public opinion. If you all are willing to express to them that you know this is occurring and that they do not have to hide these ideas, then they will be more eager to be aware of these interactions and print them for you, so that it is forming a co-creation of conviction from both polarities that you have created in your society, making you the media and making the media you. Making you the government and the government you, which is what the original idea, we assume, was to be to begin with. Now, all it takes is conviction and unconditional love. That is it. Willingness to be who you are, to speak about what you know is in your heart, without accusing, without condemning, without expecting them to listen, but just letting them know who and what you are and where you stand and what reality you believe in. Then if they choose to share that reality with you, then you will have given them an opportunity to do so. Otherwise, how will they know? They will feed you what they think you want to read, because you tell them no different. You follow me? Mm-hmm. Therefore, if you wish, only again as a suggestion, but because you are, in your terms, more than one in number, allow yourself to know that because you think of it that way, if each and every one of you went to the same media source at different times, they would begin to understand that something's going on and that there is an interest. And that all these individuals that have come to them have not come waving their fingers, have not come condemning them and accusing them, but have come seeking, sharing, loving, suggesting creative ways that they may allow themselves to print what they know is going on, and let it be all right to do so. Do you follow me? Mm-hmm. By doing that, it will be one way that you can equalize yourselves so that we may physically interact with you. Not that that should be a goal. Understand that. Not that that should be a goal. For your world is your own. You do not need us. But we can share if you are willing. That is up to you. And if you do not do this, it will not make me love you any less. Understand yourselves. Support yourselves. And recognize that there are no accidents as you create your ecstatic explosions of coincidence. All synchronicity in your lives occurs for a reason, and that reason is your reason. Everything is revealed for you. When you recognize yourself as all that is, nothing is hidden. Love yourselves with the totality, the same totality that all that is loves you, and you will know you are the same vibration. You will become the knowing you that is equal and capable of carrying on conversations with any being or entity or level or dimension or consciousness that you may have previously considered to be somewhere above you. out of your grasp, beyond your understanding. You are the Christ consciousness. You are children of God, and you are your own parents as well. It does not matter how you choose to know this, but know it you do. And it is for the reason that you do know you are God that you do everything that you do. For ultimately you know you are indestructible. And ultimately it does not matter in what way you explore the idea that you are as all that is. For exist you do, and exist you always will. And that is why I say that your civilization and our civilization is the sharing that continues forever. We thank you for your loving gift of expressing each unique facet of your being and sharing that with us, for then for us it grants us the ability to be aware of that much more of all that is for all beings to partake of in joy, love, and light. We thank you all. We bid you all good night.
Good night.